Your landlord did what? Hi, I'm attorney Jill Ruane. In today's class, in 2-Minute Law School, we are talking about landlord and tenant duties. When someone rents a place to live, there's an agreement between the landlord or property owner and the tenant, the person renting the space. And both sides have rights and responsibilities. The landlord has some key duties to make sure the property is safe and livable. Here are the most important ones. Provide a habitable home. The landlord has to make sure the rental property is in a condition that's safe and livable. This means things like fixing the roof if there's a leak, making sure the plumbing works, and providing heating in the winter. It's called the implied warranty of habitability, which means the landlord doesn't have to say these things in the lease, they are automatically part of the deal. Make repairs if something in the rental breaks. The landlord has to fix it, especially if it's something important like a broken heater, water, or electricity. Tenants have the right to expect these things to be in working order. Respect the tenant's privacy. The landlord can't just walk into the rental whenever they want. They have to give the tenant reasonable notice. Usually it's at least 24 hours before entering the property, unless there's an emergency like a fire or a flood. Follow the lease agreement. The landlord has to stick to the terms of the lease, like charging the agreed upon rent and not trying to change the rules partway through the lease period, unless both sides agree. Now, duties of the tenant. Let's talk about these responsibilities. Here's what the tenant is expected to do. Pay the rent. The most obvious duty of a tenant is to pay the rent on time. The lease agreement will lay out when and how much rent is due, and the tenant has to follow those terms. The tenant also has to keep the property clean and safe. The tenant has to take care of the rental property and keep it in reasonably good condition. That means things like not damaging the property, taking out the trash, keeping the home clean. And while the landlord is responsible for major repairs, the tenant has to take care of the everyday things, like changing light bulbs or cleaning the floors. The tenant also has to follow the lease agreement, just like the landlord. For example, if the lease says no pets or no smoking, the tenant has to follow those rules unless the landlord gives permission to change them. The tenant cannot cause damage to the property. If they do cause damage beyond normal wear and tear, like breaking a window or damaging carpet, they could be held responsible for fixing it or lose part of their security deposit. In summary, the landlord has a duty to provide a safe, livable space, make repairs, respect the tenant's privacy, and follow that lease agreement. And the tenant has the duty to pay the rent on time, keep the property clean and safe, and follow the lease rules, and avoid damaging the property. Both sides need to meet their responsibilities to keep things fair and legal in a rental agreement. That's it! Class dismissed. But first, if you wish you went to law school or you just want to be smarter and win that next argument with friends, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so you can get new classes when they drop.